Real journalists are not your enemy, but people who spread misinformation are. And the people who spread misinformation oftentimes look very credible and you really like them.
So here's the situation. My cat kind of stole my chair. So not only do I have to play Tetris with my body and contort mine around his at night while we sleep, but now I guess I gotta do that when I'm trying to work as well. And what makes this not the most uncomfortable thing in the entire world is wearing my Skims for Everybody collection. Because I can't imagine doing this wearing anything else and not hating every second of it. Because listen, we all know I'm very about comfort. And Skims Fits Everybody collection has ruined me for regular bras. And I was skeptical at first. I mean, my order came in, it delivered to my house, and I looked at it and I said, this thing, how is my body going to fit into this tiny little piece of fabric? I don't know what magic they put in it, but it fits perfectly. So if you want to also feel like you're wearing a cloud, feel free to shop Skims Fits Everybody collection and more at skims.com. And after you place your order, be sure to let them know that I sent you. Select podcast in the survey and be sure to select my show in the drop-down menu that follows. Because listen, if you're a crazy pet parent like me and are giving yourself back problems just trying to shift around your own 12-pound gremlin, you might as well be comfortable while you do it. Listen, let's be honest. No one does selling better than Shopify, home of the #1 checkout on the planet, with Shop Pay that boosts conversions up to 50%. And what that means for you as a seller is way less shopping carts just get abandoned and forgotten, and way more go. So if you're growing your business, your commerce platform better be ready to sell whatever your customers are strolling or scrolling, whether it's on the web, in your stores, or anywhere in between. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/Rebecca, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/Rebecca to upgrade your selling today. Shopify.com/Rebecca.
You don't understand how obsessed with your voice I am.
You're so
I think
sweet.
about it all the time. Because
Really?
it's so soothing to me.
Oh wait, I have heard the complete opposite my
Really?
entire career. So to hear you say
Why?
that makes me feel so.
Why?
I don't know. So I mean, when I used to anchor the news on TV, people there was a subsection of people who did like my voice, but I guess it's very distinct.
Yes.
Right. And so, because whenever I'd be out in public and not on the news, people would hear me speak and they would
I get the same thing. Okay, as another woman with a very distinct, unique voice,
Right.
I appreciate yours.
Right.
Because there's been times where I've been with other content creators, like at Disney World, I'll never forget. And people saw my friend Ben, like with his flamingo hat, and they're like, oh my God, it's Florida Man. And the moment I opened my mouth and was like, do you want me to take the picture? You just see heads go boom.
Boom. Yeah.
And I'm like,
happens to
oh
me.
no.
It happens to me. Well, also because I have a very, and you do too.
Uh-huh.
Very loud. Like we have the
We have a
ability
strong presence.
There you go. Like
Mhm.
an ability to like project it.
Yes,
You know,
that makes sense.
And people are like, people often hear me first before they.
Yes.
See me.
Yeah, I've
Before
been
they
told
see
the
me.
same exact thing. As a
So-
woman with another strong presence and loud, uniquely distinctive voice.
Well, that's what you
I
need to be a
appreciate
teacher.
yours. Correct.
Right?
Correct.
And that's what you
It's
need
so
to do.
true.
And that's what you
So-
need to do the news.
That's so true. Lisa, I'm like so happy we're finally doing this. It's
What?
been a
Just
journey.
2 years.
It's been a journey.
No, seriously, it's been a long time.
And
We
that is
tried-
okay.
I know. We tried to do this, last year?
It's
Year- year
everything.
and a half, like-
Honestly, the last year's been a blur for me.
I
I'm not
know.
gonna lie.
Bless your
I
heart.
don't even know like what happened yesterday.
I too don't know what happened yesterday. So I'm glad we're finally doing
I'm
it.
so excited. I just adore you so much.
You're so
And
sweet. I do too.
There's so many things I'm excited to talk about, especially media literacy.
Yeah.
But I want to first hear, because you started out just like I started out as a teacher. You
Right.
started out a news anchor.
Yes.
And I want to know how you decided that's what you wanted to do, what that looked like, what are the requirements that go into that, and then what does that job really look like?
So what I tell people about that career is it looks really glamorous.
Right.
It looks like people watch anchors or news reporters on TV and they're like, oh, I want to do that. But the reality is the job is horrendous. It's
Really?
really difficult to do.
Why?
It's
What's so bad about
well,
it?
it's not that it's bad. It's not that it's bad. It's just that it's extremely hard and people don't understand what goes into it.
I think I find I
Do you know what
yeah,
I'm saying?
yeah.
So, like,
I think that's, like, the case with so many things.
yeah, right. It's so difficult, and it's not like a regular job
Yeah.
where you can just say, "Well, I live," because I was born and raised in Los Angeles. So it's not like I can say, "Well, I'm going to get out of college with my degree in broadcast journalism, and I'm going to get a job in Los Angeles, report anchoring the news." You would be laughed out of town, right? So in that job in particular, it's one of those things where you have to start from the bottom and work your way up, and
What
it
does the
takes
bottom
years.
look like?
So every market in the country has a number.
Mhm,
So the biggest market in the country is New York. Second biggest is Los Angeles,
mhm.
Chicago, and then it goes down to there, down to like 180. So
Wow.
there's a bunch of markets.
Wow, okay.
And so I started in market at the time, it was market 110,
Okay,
which was
okay,
Tallahassee, Florida.
okay.
So I went from growing up in Los Angeles, California to Tallahassee, Florida.
Wow, okay, okay.
Talk about a life
Oh,
change,
yeah,
right?
Florida man. Talk about
Florida.
Florida man. Oh, yeah.
And then and so first the sacrifice is in the job. If you want it, you can't live where you want to live. You have
Wow.
the second sacrifice is your life isn't your own.
Okay.
You're going in at midnight to start your shift and you work the overnights, or you work early mornings, which means you go to sleep at 6 o'clock at night and you
Like
get
third
to work
shift.
at 3 in the morning, and
Yeah.
then you work the morning show, you do the 6 a.m. show, the 5 a.m. show, whatever, or you work the late night show, right? And so then you start at 2. So plus it's a lot of work. It's not
Yeah.
like you can sit around and like take a break.
Yeah,
You
no.
know, when you're on the scene of a crime or an investigation, you're there, and
I feel
that's
like
it.
a lot of people think that it's just reading from a teleprompter, and it's not.
It is not. And by the way, I was true story. I was just having this conversation with the girl at my spray tan place.
Oh, I love it.
We were talking about it because she said, she said, I had to talk on camera and I wrote myself a script. She's like, and then I tried to read it like from a teleprompter. She's like, I totally bombed. And I'm like, it is not as easy as you think it is.
No.
And especially to do it and make it look natural to where it doesn't look this is my favorite, is when it's like this.
Just the
I'm
big
like,
eyes staring at the camera,
staring,
like,
wide eyes, but then
oh,
you can
no.
see the eyes going like this. So it's not that easy. And on top of that, there's a lot of, and I say all those horrible things about my profession to say that I would never trade the experience and the hard work that I
I
put
love
in
that.
early on in my career, because early on in my career, I carried my own camera, I edited all my own stuff, I reported all the news, I presented it on television live every single night, starting in Tallahassee. And all of those skills I use today. So I would
Love that.
never trade, even though I cried every day in
Well,
my
yeah.
job, right? Like every day I cried. It was awful. But I would not trade that experience and I always tell my clients and people that I help coach,
Yeah.
you got to get reps in. You got to get, because there's a lot of mistakes you make
Mhm.
in journalism, and it's thank the sweet baby Jesus that all of my mistakes, I've been in this business for 20 plus years, so all my mistakes have disappeared. Like the internet
Yeah, they
wasn't
had
a
no
thing.
yeah,
So all my
yeah.
mistakes are like clearly gone from the internet. Like nobody knows what they were, but they were bad. They were bad. It was bad.
Do you have any examples that you would be willing to share?
You know what? I don't. So here's the other thing.
That's okay, you don't remember.
No, I do remember.
Oh.
I know exactly what it is, and I know I have it. The problem is that when I started, we were working off of 3/4 inch tapes. So the
Oh.
tape, a physical tape, it's this big and it's this thick, 3/4 inch.
Wow.
And so all my stuff is on 3/4 inch. So I haven't been able to translate it, but I will tell you the story just quick.
Okay, I love it, I
My
love it.
very first live shot ever when I was in Tallahassee, Florida, I was 23 years old, and first time ever going live at the 5 o'clock news my story that day, it was around the holidays. So my story that day was about shopping and retail sales in Tallahassee, Florida. My first, like, I'm looking at the camera and I hear in my earpiece, Lisa Remillard is outside of the Walmart to talk about retail sales. I saw the red light go on, and I swear I started speaking another language. I forgot my name. I froze. It was horrendous. It was uh, this. Now this has disappeared from because
Yeah,
that's not a thing. Like it
correct,
doesn't
correct, correct.
exist, except I have it on the recorded state. But yes, so of course
It's a rite of passage. It's a rite of passage.
it happens to everybody. But that's my point, is that this job and how I'm able to do this job now is because I have been through all of these mistakes
Wow.
and how I have learned how to use the right language and learned how to, make sure that I'm attributing everything I'm saying to a source and not
Yes.
just making things up.
Yes.
Those are learning curves that newbies in the business need to go through, all of those mistakes to learn those things. And that's why you see a lot of people on social media who are trying to talk about the news openly make a lot of those mistakes. And I recognize them because I'm like, I know where you are. Like, you need some training from, Tallahassee, Florida, or wherever the small market is, where you learn how to say things, report the news properly, where you learn how to balance it out, where you learn how to give both sides of the story, where you're not just like feeding one side because that's the way you feel about it.
Interesting. So when it comes to listening to people, and I know we're gonna talk about media literacy, but she'll have so many
Whatever.
questions.
No, they're
But there are some that I also want to get back to.
yeah.
You said like you hear the mistakes on social media. What are some like things that people should look out for when hearing the news from people
Right.
online as like a red flag?
Well, okay, so I actually did a whole TED talk about this.
Okay, okay.
My whole TED talk is about how the 24-hour news cycle opened the door let me just back up for everybody that wasn't around or was
Yeah.
very young at the time.
Yeah.
24-hour news was never like when I grew up, that wasn't a thing.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
So when I grew up, there was 3 stations. There was NBC, ABC, and CBS. That was the only choice. And they came on in the morning and in the afternoon and at night, and that was it. And that's all the news we got. Right? And then when I really entered the TV space, that's when 24-hour news started.
Wow.
And when that opened, then that opened up the world of social media, right? So 24-hour news cycle started. Now all of a sudden we're getting bombarded with information. And then, of course, social media started, and then that just took it to a whole new level.
Right.
Okay, so that's the environment we're now in, where there's just so much information, and it's very difficult for people to parse through what they're seeing. They're
Right.
taking in so much, and they don't know necessarily what they're taking in. So my red flags for people are always,
Listen, there's a lot of great businesses out there, like Skims, for example. We know I love them. Great product, successful business. I mean, what more could you want? But something that a lot of people don't realize that when it comes to successful businesses like that, it's the business behind the business that makes it all possible. And for millions of businesses, that business is Shopify. Let's be honest. No one does selling better than Shopify, home of the #1 checkout on the planet, with Shop Pay that boosts conversions up to 50%. And what that means for you as a seller is way less shopping carts just get abandoned and forgotten, and way more go. So if you're growing your business, your commerce platform better be ready to sell whatever your customers are strolling or scrolling, whether it's on the web, in your stores, or anywhere in between. Businesses that sell more sell on Shopify. Upgrade your business and get the same checkout that Skims uses. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/Rebecca, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/Rebecca to upgrade your selling today. Shopify.com/Rebecca. So here's the situation. My cat kind of stole my chair. So not only do I have to play Tetris with my body and contort mine around his at night while we sleep, but now I guess I gotta do that when I'm trying to work as well. And what makes this not the most uncomfortable thing in the entire world is wearing my Skims for Everybody collection. Because I can't imagine doing this wearing anything else and not hating every second of it. If I gotta contort my body around a little 12-pound gremlin, I might as well be wearing something that makes my body feel like it's being hugged and loved by the fabric. Because listen, we all know I'm very about comfort. If I'm not comfortable, I don't wanna wear it. I'm that person when I go to the store, I have to touch all of the shirts and dresses. I need to feel the material. I just wanna feel how soft it is. And Skims Fits Everybody collection has ruined me for regular bras. I had to wear one the other day because I was going out to an event and I physically groaned. And I was skeptical at first. I mean, my order came in, it delivered to my house, and I looked at it and I said, this thing, how is my body going to fit into this tiny little piece of fabric? I don't know what magic they put in it, but it fits perfectly. It feels like I'm being hugged by my clothes. I do a lot of ads on podcasts. I talk about a lot of different products. None has touched my soul the way my Skims Fits Everybody collection has. It just is what it is. So if you want to also feel like you're wearing a cloud, feel free to shop Skims Fits Everybody collection and more at skims.com. And after you place your order, be sure to let them know that I sent you. Select podcasts in the survey and be sure to select my show in the drop-down menu that follows. Because listen, if you're a crazy pet parent like me and are giving yourself back problems just trying to shift around your own 12-pound gremlin, you might as well be comfortable while you do it.
You have to understand that there is language that people use where you can, I mean, I can automatically tell where they're coming from and what if they're trying to push
Push
an
an
agenda.
agenda.
That is hard to pick up on if one, you don't have great media literacy, and two, if you're doing just like this.
Just
If,
scrolling.
if you're
Yeah.
just scrolling and you're picking up bits and pieces, you're not getting the context of what's going on. So I always say a red flag is if you're, even if you really like who's giving you the information, even if you think they look really credible, that doesn't necessarily mean they are. And my other red flag is if you are continually going back to that person because you like that person and you really like getting information or you like the way they are presenting it, you need to how do I say this and not be mean?
No, it's okay. It's
So
okay.
you need to understand that one, if they're not trained properly, they're probably commentating. They're
Yeah.
sharing their opinion, right? They're not giving you facts. There might be facts weaved into it, but they've got an agenda, they've got a narrative. So you just need to make sure that you are taking in if you start to feel like if you start to feel like you like everything they say, everything. Like if you watch videos of this of one particular person that you like and you scroll past and you're like, I like everything. Yes, I agree with everything. Oh yes, that's a red flag,
Mm,
right? So like,
yeah.
I love this. Oh my gosh, yes, I agree with that. Yes. Uh,
They
all the
only say things that you agree with. That's okay. Yeah, yeah.
and listen, I'm not saying that they would be wrong, but what I'm saying is that you're not getting the whole picture.
You're getting the agenda.
You're getting an agenda. So you need to just, and I know it's difficult because, right, nobody has time. Everybody has a job, they have kids, they have a life. But if you, but if you really want to be an informed person, you need to also actively seek out what else there is about that topic,
Yes.
not just from that one person.
Or that one perspective.
That's the same
Yeah,
thing,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
So
yeah.
you have to just like, because if you go into the internet and type the topic in, you're going to get several different viewpoints from several different publications on that very same topic. And I always say, if you have the time, read them all
Yeah.
because then you have the right to form a very strong opinion,
Mhm.
right? My problem is when somebody is watching one source with one agenda and then have a very strong opinion about that
Yeah.
either way. Instead of saying, let me just see what all of the facts are, and then I can have a strong opinion. It might still be the same opinion, but at least you're informed on what the other side of that topic is.
Yeah. No, I
Do you know
I
what I'm saying?
agree with that
Do
completely.
you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, yeah,
because
yeah.
people get very, and I think that's how we get to where we are right now, which is everybody's such strong opinions,
About so many things that they
and
don't understand.
nobody knows anything.
No one knows anything about
Right?
anything that they're talking about in this day and age anymore.
They don't, and it's very, and listen, my comment section is really the place to just watch it unfold.
I think a good because we already talked before that we don't want to get into specific political things. But I
No,
think a good safe example to use that everyone can get behind is that like snippet of a week. I think it was like a year or two ago when younger generations were like, did Saddam Hussein have a point? And it's like, whoa, 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 whoa,
yeah,
whoa, 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 hold on a second.
right.
Wait a minute.
Right. So, and that's, listen, there's a lot, but you could name 1,000 different examples, right? Like there's 1,000 different, everything is that way.
Mhm.
And everything is that way. And I think that people, and again, it's because they're busy, they want, and the genuine thing is they want to be informed. I
Yes,
know
they
they do.
want to so badly. They want
So
to
badly.
understand.
And I know they do because I get genuinely interested questions from people all the time, and they know they want to get to what's going on, and I know they want to be informed. It's just that not everybody has the time to do this. That's what I do, right? So it's my job full time to understand all the perspectives and remove the perspectives. My job is to give my viewers, my followers, my subscribers the facts. You don't, we were talking about it. Everybody gets to have their own opinion, but there is one set of facts that we all have to work off of to have that opinion. There's
Mhm.
there's a lot of them too. And
Yes.
two things can be true at the same time.
Yes. Yes.
There's a lot of facts. I always say opinions aren't facts, feelings aren't facts. Just because it's a fact you don't like doesn't make it fake or wrong.
Yep.
Real journalists are not your enemy, but the people who spread misinformation are.
Absolutely.
That is my entire thing that I just hope that if everybody's watching, I hope that that is what they take away from this.
Yeah.
If they take away nothing else,
That.
just that.
And that is media literacy in a nutshell.
Mhm.
I think I think so many people hear the term media literacy and they get that it's the gist of like understanding what you consume on the internet, but that's all they really understand about it. Like they don't understand the
Right.
nitty-gritty. They don't understand what it looks
Right.
like.
I'll give you a great example.
Yeah. Yeah.
Great example. It just happened this week. I don't know when this is going to air,
That's okay. That's okay.
but it just happened this week, which is, let's talk about the TikTok, whether or not President Trump was going to extend the deadline for TikTok, right?
Mhm. Right.
Okay.
Mhm.
So I did the story on, I think it was Monday or Tuesday, saying Thursday's the deadline.
Right.
We have a couple of days. Thursday's the deadline.
Mhm.
Well, late on Tuesday night, the White House put out a statement saying President Trump is going to sign a 90-day extension for TikTok.
Right.
That's what they said.
Mhm.
That was on Tuesday. Well, and everybody, and if you actually look at the articles online or actually took the time to listen to what the people were saying on TV, they all said President Trump is expected to. President Trump will. He will be. Not that he did, he's
will be.
expected to. He will be. And so all day on Wednesday, I was getting people in my comments saying, you're wrong. He already did it.
Mm-mm.
But it's that simple. They're just not picking up on the language. And it's just as little as that. That could mean all the difference in the world because guess what? Maybe he decided at the last minute he's not going to do it.
Yep.
Just because he's expected to doesn't mean he will.
Doesn't mean he has.
It doesn't mean he has.
It's not if he hasn't done it yet, you never know what will
That's
happen.
exactly right. And so then on yesterday, when he actually signed it, then I did the video and on purpose, I held the paper up and I said, here it is. He signed it. Now we can say it's extended.
Yep.
But on Wednesday, you can't say it's extended because it's not done yet. You would have thought I killed their pet when I was telling them that it's not done yet because they heard or they thought they heard something.
Yeah.
but they're not paying close enough attention.
Yeah.
And
Words matter.
words
Words
matter.
matter so
Words
much.
matter, and I think that we've lost a lot of that because of the convenience of
Of
scrolling.
Interesting. What are some other concerns that you find from, like, that just screams to you, we lack, or I have so many questions. I didn't pack Adderall on this
No,
trip, and
it's
I'm, like,
okay.
I'm really regretting it right now because there's so many questions in my
That's
brain, and I'm
okay.
like, "How do I get them out into the real world right
That's
now?"
okay.
I wanna know so much more about media literacy, like,
Yeah.
what that means to you, what people can do to
Yes.
become like, to gain media literacy,
Right.
what you're hoping it prevents, like, what are some
Right.
more issues with the lack of media literacy that you're seeing,
Yeah.
especially with the younger
Well,
generations?
I see it. Here's the thing too is it's not just the younger generation,
Oh,
which is
I think it's the worst in the
older
oldest
generations.
and youngest. The oldest and youngest, and then in the
The middle
middle,
is all of us, and
we're
we're
like,
like,
"Please, somebody listen," because you have, like, the young kids that are still learning how to use
right, right,
how to
right.
get into the world, and then you have the older generations that never bothered to learn.
Or it wasn't around, and so they
Yes.
didn't understand,
Right.
and now they have all this. It all
Right.
boils down to the same thing.
Yes.
Here's what it all boils down to. Here's what it all boils down to, teacher.
I'm ready, I'm ready.
Education.
Yes.
And
Yes.
there are other countries in this world where it is a dedicated curriculum, media literacy.
Oh, I want that so
I
bad.
do too. Listen, this is my new mission is this.
Yeah.
It's to find a way to get this into schools because you have to teach people, you have to teach young people how to recognize it because as if to your point about what is the pitfall of it, what does it end up
Yep.
looking like? It ends up looking like violence.
Yeah.
It ends up looking like what we are seeing. It ends up looking like such division
Yeah.
because people aren't understanding the full scope of what's happening and they're forming a really strong opinion about it one way or the other instead of taking the 20 minutes to try and at least understand more of the full scope before having that strong opinion because people with very strong opinions end up acting very strongly on those opinions
Yes.
and that's where this leads
Yeah.
unfortunately.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
so it starts with education. It starts with understanding, taking the time to read and comprehend. Reading comprehension is very, very important. Um, I just don't even know if they teach that in schools anymore. Like,
So the issue is, and so many people don't understand. I've said this on a lot of episodes, but
yeah,
I'll always say it again for the
that's
people in the
fine.
back.
Listen, I
Like, people don't understand that the teachers don't make the curriculum,
yeah,
and like the states
the state does.
decide the
Yeah,
curriculum.
I know.
And so even with like world history, when I was teaching world history, like
Yeah.
world history starts is like a thematic class now. It doesn't even start at the beginning, and they kind of started at 1200, and it's like,
Wow.
"Wait, why you do that?" And they're like, "Well,
Wow.
it mirrors AP World." And it's like, "Why are we
Wow.
mirroring an AP college level class to regular or even remedial class? Like, why does that feel like a good idea to anybody else?"
So strange.
That feels so awful and
Yeah. Well, see,
terrible.
listen, we have seen, and I have watched it, and I have reported on it for years. We have seen education be cut back, yes, days across the country, and unfortunately, that leads to fewer people understanding what, as adults, understanding what's actually happening in the world.
How the world
And
works.
yes, and I always say like the best thing whether the facts are horrific or not. I always say the best thing is for you to have them.
Yes.
That way
Correct.
you can make the best no matter what they are, you can then use those facts to make the best decision for yourself and your
Mhm.
family. But
Mhm.
if as an adult you lack the comprehension skills to even understand where to go to find them or how to parse through what's an opinion and what's a fact,
That's a problem.
then that leads to very strong opinions based on nothing
Exactly.
that lead to
Exactly.
I mean, it's just like I mean, it's a clear straight line from A to Z. It's to me at least, it's a clear straight line.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
So what are some other ways other than like going out of their way to read
Yeah.
numerous sources, numerous
Yeah.
perspectives. What are some other ways that people in general can gain media literacy skills? And what do some of those skills look like?
I know, I wish there was an easy answer. There is no easy answer.
Okay, okay.
I would never say, "Go to this one website," because that would defeat the
No,
whole
yeah,
purpose,
yeah,
right?
for sure.
Unfortunately, there is no easy answer. It just takes your time.
Okay.
And if you have the time, if there's a topic that you really feel like you feel like you've got a strong opinion about it, I would suggest taking the 20 minutes to really look into that topic, whatever it is,
Yeah.
and just look into it and see, just like as a crude example, like if you're going to look at an article about that topic from CNN, then you actively need to go to Fox News or any one of those sites, and you need to, because
Find the
they
air
they
opposites.
will have the exact same topic, but it will have a different perspective on that topic, right? And same thing if you're watching something on, OAN, or you're watching something on News Nation, and you've got a really you're starting to feel like, oh gosh, I have an opinion, like this is horrible or this is wonderful. You're starting to have a very strong opinion. Then you need to actively, and if you have the time and if it's something that's important to you, you need to actively go and look at the other side of it. Find the opposite of
Figure out what
whatever,
you're missing.
because there are holes. And that's what people don't really understand, is that there are, if I take two media sources that are politically polar opposite, and I look at the same story from those two, there will be a set of facts that appear with both. And those are the facts. If you find that if you're on polar opposite media sites or on a single topic, on the same topic, because they're both covering them, I promise you, and you find
Those are
facts that
bullet
appear
points.
both, those are probably facts. You
Mhm.
can probably pull those out as real.
Mhm.
But there will be things that appear in one side that don't appear here, or appear here that don't appear here. And those could be facts. They also could be speculation from either of those sides. So those things I would take more with a grain of salt as opposed to the facts that appeared in both. Does
Interesting.
that make sense?
Yeah.
Like, so you have to, I always say, you need to base your opinions on the facts, because there's one set of them,
Yes.
right? There's, the sky is blue. That's the fact.
That's what it is.
I didn't make it blue. It just is, right? So that's a fact. It's a crappy day because it's an overcast day, or it's a wonderful day because it's an overcast day. That's a perspective on that one
Yeah.
fact,
Yeah.
right?
It's nice out. There's no sun. It's not too hot. Or
Right.
this is terrible. It's gloomy. It's
Right.
not sunny.
And before you make a very strong opinion about that, you probably should understand that there are people who maybe like the glue,
yeah.
right?
They like the no sun.
And
They
and then
like
right, and then
yeah.
you can say, "Well, I know that, but I still like it."
But I prefer it to be sunny.
Right.
And that's fine.
And you know what? When you go through that exercise, even with like issues that don't matter, like just silly things,
Yes.
when you go through that exercise, I find that people automatically become more thoughtful and more empathetic. But when they are just like gung ho on one thing, that's when the like aggressive,
Mhm.
hardcore
Yes.
opinions start that lead down the path of violence or
Yeah.
whatever.
Literally,
Acting out.
I started to tell you a little bit about this before we even started
Yeah.
recording. There's something that happened, and it's something that happened to me a couple weeks ago, or maybe I don't even know. All my days blur together at this point, to be completely honest. I left it vague on purpose.
Yeah.
And I just made this video that said, hey, if you're someone that claims to be for the children and everything is for the children and all pro children, advocate for the children, blah, 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 then you should be upset and empathize with children that are really going through it right now.
Mm-hmm.
In our country, like
Yeah.
there's a lot of kids that are struggling and,
Right.
having issues being ripped from families, things like that. Like we should, if you don't empathize with them,
Yeah.
maybe you're not as pro-life as you think that
Or
you
pro
are.
for the children. Right.
Exactly.
Right. And that's not saying anything about but that's
No.
with everything.
Right.
That can be with everything.
And the number one opposition comment that I got was, what? So you just don't you want to keep kids together if their parent's a pedophile? And I'm like, what are you talking about?
See,
What
that's
do you
see,
mean?
that's yeah.
Like, first of all, like,
That's an extreme but see, that goes with listen, and I get that people want to challenge, right? They want to challenge, they want but, like, that
that's a weird response. Like, first of all, just because you empathize, like, if you can empathize with a kid going through it,
Mhm.
that doesn't mean that you want a kid to stay with a pedophile parent
Yeah,
or
that's
a predator parent.
ugh,
Just like you just don't. And
yeah.
someone else said, well, if I were to XYZ and I went to jail, my kid would be separate from me. And I'm like, and you know what people would do is empathize with them.
With the
That's
child.
like, what? How do you? There shouldn't be a situational context to make you empathize with a kid
Yeah.
put in a bad situation.
Yeah.
But also, two things can be true at the same time.
Right.
Like if you were to commit like all these, well, if I were to commit a crime, I would be separate from my kids, okay? And people would empathize with them.
With the kid.
Two things can be true at the same time. You
Right.
can go to jail
And
and,
you
people would feel sorry for your kids.
and you could be a crappy parent.
Exactly.
Right?
Like why? Like
Right.
what is wrong with you in that? Like you can't
Sometimes I think too
separate that.
sometimes I think too on the internet people just like to be
Upset.
totally.
They just
And
want to be
they
upset.
want to and they want to be assholes. Sorry
Yeah.
for the word.
No,
You know,
no,
but like
yes.
they just want to be awful.
They just want to be miserable. Like
Yeah.
I even this isn't even like anything relevant, but I reposted an old video from when I was a school teacher
Yeah.
and someone was like, oh, did you have to go back to the classroom? Blah, blah, blah. And I was like, no, it's just a repost. Oh, because you don't have anything else to post? No, it got a lot of views before and I'm just making money off of it again. I'm like, what do you mean? Oh, well, was this before or after your divorce? I'm like, the one that I asked for?
Yeah.
Like, if you're trying to insult me, you're doing a really bad job of it. I don't know.
Listen, let me tell you
what-
something. This is a totally silly and irrelevant to
That's okay. That's
it's
okay.
silly, but I take a lot of pride in my clapbacks and my comments.
I love it. I love it.
I don't know if you've ever been in my comment section, but it's usually a dumpster fire. And I take a lot of pride in just being a total asshole back.
My
And people,
yes.
because
People are shocked.
well, but my like real followers, my real subscribers, they love they
I
love it.
love
They're
it.
like, we live for your comebacks
Lisa.
because people say some really things. So anyway, yes, people I take a lot of pride in that because
I love
because my videos are very sort of buttoned up, right?
Yes,
They need
yes,
to be,
yes.
and I'm trying to like present the facts. But what really just pisses me off, genuinely pisses me off, is that I take 5 hours or so to make a video,
Uh-huh.
and then people don't even like watch it all the way through. And instead of just watching the 2 minutes, they have a very strong opinion when I've answered their question in
And they're not listening.
They're not even
They're not
listening.
even listening.
oh, that's like my bread and butter.
I love it because sometimes I'll have like a long skit or a long video and I'll say something in the first 10 seconds and people will just start typing and they'll hit enter and I'm like, did you even watch it?
Yeah, no.
Like, or my favorite thing to do with trolls on the internet is to take their comment and literally just flip it back to them.
Oh, I do it all the time.
Like when they're like, oh my God, this video was such a waste of time. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this comment was such a waste of time. And I would literally
My favorite is, well, thank you for your comment because that just
funds my lifestyle. Oh, literally, I will sit there and I will like go back and forth. And once I'm tired of it, I'm like, listen, we're both sitting here wasting time on this. But I get paid for this and you're just wasting your time. So, like you're just funding my lifestyle of getting to sit at home with my cats.
right.
And sit here
It's
on my porch, drinking in my house that I bought from this job, from people like you who are so upset you can't help yourselves. Which of us is wasting our time?
Not me, friend. I love it.
So
I love it.
it's so funny. And whenever I clap back in the comments, people are like, this is so unlike you. I'm like, what do you mean? This is
know.
so like me. I
I
don't know
know.
what you're talking about.
It's so me too. Yeah, that's who I am. I have there's this photo of me and I put it on my Instagram years and years ago, but I had this photo of me. I was like, I don't know, maybe in first grade. And somebody was taking a picture of me. I was reading my little children's book in this photo, and I will share it with you because it's a great
I
photo.
love it.
But I'm reading it, and somebody's like, "Lisa, we're taking a picture." And I was like, and that is
Thanks,
just genuinely who I am as a person. Like,
yes.
I have no, and I'm like, no time for your bull. I have no time
Literally,
for
I'm
it.
like I'm one of the most sarcastic people that I
too.
know, and I love to be nice and I love to be kind, but I am so
Me
sarcastic
too. Listen,
all the time. I'm like, what about me running around with a CGI watermelon on my head makes you think that I just like I'm not a sarcastic person? I don't understand.
right,
Like,
right. No, listen, I do this. I do the same thing. I love what I do. I absolutely love what I do, and I've wanted to do this job since I was 4 years old.
I love it.
Maybe not on the internet, right? But
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
that wasn't even a thing when I was little. But when I was 4 years old, I told my mom I wanted to be a reporter on TV when I was 4. And
Wow.
my whole life I spent doing this job. I have tried for decades to not do this job. I have tried, I've thought to myself, what other job could I do? Because this job is hard, it is stressful, it doesn't pay, quite frankly. I mean, it doesn't pay. Being a journalist, you don't get I mean, nobody gets into journalism to be a millionaire. That's
Yes.
not how it works. People do this job because they love the news, they love the facts, they love to dig, they love to hold people accountable. That's who does this job and is successful in this job. So, I have tried to get away from it, and I always come back to it because
That's your passion.
I can't do anything else. I have tried. I have, like, begged, like, something come so I don't have to live like this, but then can't.
I didn't realize how similar in this and I'll get to, like, the example in a second, how similar journalism and teaching was in this way, in that, you said earlier that when you were growing up, the news was on for, like, a couple hours a day, and that
That's
was
it.
it.
Mhm.
And when as I was preparing for this episode, I looked into a lot of people's stories about why they left journalism, and so many of them were like, I took this job when it was a couple hours a day, and these were my duties, and these were my responsibilities, and then all of a sudden, the news became a 24-hour thing, and our duties list and our responsibilities list just kept increasing, 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 but the salary never did, and not only that, but the salary did not increase with inflation either, which is a huge issue that teachers have had, and
Of
that like
course.
people that the duties list and the responsibilities list keeps increasing every
Absolutely.
year. But not only is there not a pay increase in it, it doesn't account for inflation either.
No.
And I feel like there's so many occupations that are really seeing that and struggling with that when they're saying like, hey, pay journalists more, pay teachers more. People who don't understand
Right.
that when this job was originally created and given this occupation, it's one of the some of the only professions that has not
Kept
increased
up.
with has not kept up with
Right.
pay,
Right.
inflation,
Right.
benefits. Like, in fact, a lot of the benefits just keep being taken
We're
away,
eroded.
which is crazy.
Well, yeah. I mean, I told you when my very first job was in Tallahassee, Florida.
Mhm.
I
Oh,
my
Florida.
my salary now this was in the Stone Age when I started, like, keep in mind. But my salary, my annual salary for that job, $17,500.
Wow. Wow.
17 and I worked all the time in the
Wow.
Florida heat, carrying and at the time, we didn't have these cool little Canon cameras. At the time, I had a
The
news
big
camera that
yeah.
weighed 50 pounds, plus the tripod that weighed like another 30 pounds, and I was carrying it around
Wow.
myself. Like it was, and I listen. Jour Again, people don't get into journalism to be millionaires.
No, right.
There's no money in journalism.
Yeah.
There's not. So I always tell people, like, if you can do anything other than
Do it.
journalism,
Do it.
do it.
Do it.
Because it is, if you have a passion outside of journalism, do it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
if unfortunately, I can't turn away from it.
You
It is
tried.
it's like a toxic ex. I
Yep.
cannot, like, I cannot pull away from it for some
Yeah,
reason.
no, that makes sense.
So,
That's so a few questions real quick
yeah.
before I let you
Yeah, yeah.
go, because I wanted to ask them earlier,
Yeah.
and I
We got
media
distracted by
media
all the other stuff.
literacy was so
Yes.
important is so important though.
It
Like
is.
that was like the
It is.
important one. Did you like you went to school to be a journalist. What does that schooling
Undergraduate
look like?
and master's degree.
Really?
Mhm.
Do most newscasters have a master's degree also?
No,
Okay, okay.
no,
What'd you get your
no.
master's in?
My master's is in strategic public relations.
Okay,
My
okay,
I don't even know if they have, but both of my degrees are from USC,
okay,
University of
okay,
Southern California.
okay.
So my undergrad is in broadcast journalism. They have a very prestigious Annenberg School of Journalism. I was admitted to that school as a freshman. So I was at the time they weren't at the time they didn't really admit freshmen into that school, but I got in as a freshman and yeah.
And do you what like responsibilities like you worked all day. What did like what
Still
were
work
you
all day.
responsible for? Because again, we talked about how a lot of people just think
They
it's
do
sitting
read
in
the
a
news.
chair,
Yeah.
reading from a teleprompter.
Okay.
What did you
So
actually have to do?
so I was a reporter as well. So I was out in the field in the on the streets covering listen, I covered everything. I covered murders, I covered car accidents, I covered house fires, I covered in Florida in the hurricanes, right? Like I almost got blown out to sea. There's a great video of
And
that
you
as
had to
well.
do all the investigation stuff like yourself.
Right. Even as a anchor, you still do that. I mean, so yeah, so as a reporter, you're out there, you're responsible for like there's a meeting at in the morning. So every newsroom in the country works this way. There was a meeting in the morning first thing, and everybody gets together with all the bosses and all the reporters and all the anchors for that shift. What are we covering today? What is important today? What do we want? And you go around the room and everybody talks about what story they want to cover. The person in charge of the meeting says, you're doing this story, you're doing that story, you're doing that story. And then you, as the reporter, are responsible for executing that story. That means you immediately go and start making phone calls. Who can you get to talk about that story? If it's a scene, if it's a fire, if they're like, forget you can't do that story. You're covering this house fire that's happening right now. You're responsible for hightailing it over there, getting the camera up, getting the pictures, talking to the neighbors. Then, as the reporter, you're responsible for looking at all that footage and crafting a story that makes sense. And in the TV news world, that story has to be like a minute and 15 seconds usually.
Wow. Okay.
So that's what reporters do. And as an anchor, your responsibility is to work with your producers and your executive producer to shape the broadcast. So what are we taught? We look at the whole hour of TV or however long the show is, half hour, hour. We look at, okay, what is the tone of this day? What are we supposed what's the most important thing? What should be put up front? What should we talk about after the first commercial break? What is going to keep people coming back for more? Who are we inviting into the studio to have an in-studio live interview with? That's what so I also worked hand in hand when I anchored the news. I work hand in hand with our executive producer, and she and I put together the what they call the rundown, which is the list of all the stories that we're going to talk about in a newscast. So you're responsible for that too. And you're also responsible for writing. I mean, in most newsrooms, there are a few writers that help write stories, but as the anchor, I mean, at least I never read a script on with my face on it, my voice that I didn't look at and approve
Makes sense.
or write myself.
Yep. Yep.
Because some people don't write the way I speak, and if that's another thing that people get hung up on. If you're looking at a teleprompter and it's not the way you normally speak, it's gonna come out
Yeah, it's
weird.
gonna come out so weird.
So like I always had to rewrite it to craft it to make it sound like something that I would say, or write it myself from the beginning.
I love that.
Yeah, I mean it's great training, but it's very hard. It's really
Yes.
demanding.
Yes.
Plus, when you're an anchor, you're also responsible for the live broadcast.
Yes.
So, and listen, anything can happen. And I have had everything happen live. And you just have to keep going. You have to pretend like nothing's happening. You have to, if I've had multiple times where I'm reading the teleprompter in the middle of a story and the whole teleprompter goes down. What are you supposed to do?
Oh,
Well, you
no.
know what? As the anchor, you're responsible for knowing what that story is and being able to keep going without that teleprompter.
Wow.
And it could be anything, with anything.
Wow.
Yeah. It's a lot harder. Like I said, it's not as glamorous as people think it is. It's a lot of hard work.
Oh, absolutely.
A lot of hard work. And then when you're done with your day, then you're on an evening call. After you've done your work for the day and you go home, now you're on a call
How
at
did it all
night.
go? How did people react?
What are we talking about tomorrow morning? What's happening tomorrow? So you're like, it's constant.
Wow.
Plus, my morning show that I anchored live every day was 5.5 hours straight.
Wow. That's so long. Holy moly.
Yeah. So
Are there any last minute misconceptions about your job or media literacy or
yeah,
anything like that that you want to touch on before we close
we.
out?
I just want people. I want people to just think before they type.
Yeah, that would be nice.
I would love. I mean, listen, that can go for everything. That can go for a silly video. Think before you're mean to the person who's creating that video, right? It can go for news. Think before you spew your very strong opinion if you have no basis in reality or no grasp of the facts.
Yeah.
Just think about it. And I know some people do it just to get a rise, and I get that's part of the internet. But just if you were a thinking person who wants to be informed, just take the time to just understand the basic facts
Yeah.
before you form a really strong opinion. And remember, opinions aren't facts, feelings aren't facts. Just because it's a fact you don't like doesn't make it fake or wrong. Real journalists are not your enemy, but people who spread misinformation are. And the people who spread misinformation oftentimes look very credible and you really like them.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think it's the worst when they know they're doing it too.
When who knows?
When they know that they're spreading misinformation, they're like, "Eh, it's fine."
The person that's
Yeah.
doing it?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
They
they're
do
the
it.
worst.
Oh,
They're
no.
the worst.
The worst.
They're the absolute worst. But I think that's like the perfect idea to end on.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. If we get so many questions in the comments, we can always do another one. Oh my gosh, I love
I'm
it.
so happy that we're finally able to do
Oh,
this.
I'm so happy that we got to get together. I hope you guys are obsessed with her as I am.
Thank
Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us, and we'll see y'all next week. Bye bye, lovelies.
So here's the situation. My cat kind of stole my chair. So not only do I have to play Tetris with my body and contort mine around his at night while we sleep, but now I guess I gotta do that when I'm trying to work as well. And what makes this not the most uncomfortable thing in the entire world is wearing my Skims for Everybody collection. Because I can't imagine doing this wearing anything else and not hating every second of it. Because listen, we all know I'm very about comfort. And Skims Fits Everybody collection has ruined me for regular bras. And I was skeptical at first. I mean, my order came in, it delivered to my house, and I looked at it and I said, this thing, how is my body going to fit into this tiny little piece of fabric? I don't know what magic they put in it, but it fits perfectly. So if you want to also feel like you're wearing a cloud, feel free to shop Skims Fits Everybody collection and more at skims.com. And after you place your order, be sure to let them know that I sent you. Select podcast in the survey and be sure to select my show in the drop-down menu that follows. Cause listen, if you're a crazy pet parent like me and are giving yourself back problems just trying to shift around your own 12-pound gremlin, you might as well be comfortable while you do it. Listen, let's be honest. No one does selling better than Shopify, home of the #1 checkout on the planet, with Shop Pay that boosts conversions up to 50%. And what that means for you as a seller is way less shopping carts just get abandoned and forgotten, and way more go. So if you're growing your business, your commerce platform better be ready to sell whatever your customers are strolling or scrolling, whether it's on the web, in your stores, or anywhere in between. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/Rebecca, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/Rebecca to upgrade your selling today. Shopify.com/Rebecca.